Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video I want to go over Xur's inventories for the weekend of the 26th, Memorial Day for those of us here in the States, and Dungeon Day for just about everybody here in Destiny. He's in the tower up here in the corner of the hangar, and he's got some decent stuff. Now I will go over the weapons first because mostly they're kind of okay, and then we're going to go through class by class because there's some stuff to talk about on each one for the armor. So first thing, a lot of the weapons I'm not loving. Ikelos hand cannon. This is a decent roll. I mean, you can get a decent amount of range, stability, rapid hit frenzy. It's actually going to be a pretty solid roll if you're looking for an Ikelos hand cannon. It's pretty good. Threat detector and unrelenting, not really anything to write home about. I mean, it's got some decent range because you can go armor piercing, you can go range masterwork. Unrelenting, though, with close proximity and threat detector. Like, threat detector for close proximity and unrelenting, kind of meh. Overflow and adagio on a sniper, not really. Pugilist and unstoppable force. Only reason to pick up some of these is if you're specifically trying to go after like the one for crafting, which I probably wouldn't do. Lead from Golden Outlaw, under pressure snapshot sights. Now, there are not a lot of void auto rifles. We do have a new one from Zavala for Vanguard drops, which is actually pretty good. There's some good drops in there, but if you don't have a good old gnawing hunger, tactical mag, extended barrel with some stability, subsistence, so you get a lot of kills, hopefully, and then multi-kill clip on your reload. Not a horrible roll. Maybe not the best, but because I would probably put Rampage right here. But honestly, if you don't have a decent gnawing hunger, it's one that I would probably consider picking up. As for your exotics, I would say this Hawkmoon's actually worth picking up. For PvP especially, you got range, handling, and stability boosted by 5. Handling is plus 10 with polymer grip, and rangefinder, which is going to help you with range and zoom. Now, at some point, rangefinder may not be as good as it is, but generally for a roll, I would say no perks are like working against each other. You could probably get a little bit more range out of something, but all in all, pretty solid Hawkmoon if it floats your boat. And then Dead Man's Tail is pretty good too. You're going to have increased stability, handling, and range. And then you've got Killing Wind, which is going to, if you get kills, help you with mobility, range, and handling. Now, I don't think Dead Man's Tail is kind of worth the cost right now because it's not in the best space. But if you're somebody who is, higher skilled, able to start putting some streaks together, getting this to start like your killing chain is going to only help it pay off even better. So it's up to you if you like that kind of build. Not really one for me, but you got light mag with some reload and some slight range. It's a pretty solid roll too if Killing Wind is something that floats your fancy. Your exotic weapon is Arbalist, by the way. If you don't have this, and the new player quest, I think, even does give you this, but if you do not have this weapon, still a good barrier weapon, linear fusion rifle, kinetic, kind of the only thing like itself in a slot, something everybody should own, so if you don't have it, buy it. All right, for the Titan, you're going to have a couple decent rolls here, but some of them still have too much mobility. Like the Gauntlet's 25 mobility, for me, is just too much of a wasted stat, and you have 2 resilience. I just can't support that. Now, the 63 chest, like dead even, if you're a newer player, that is not a bad place to get a well-rounded 63 to start putting into some builds. 64, little, again, more well-rounded, less discipline, but a little more strength if that's what you're going for. And again, the 64, more strength if you're looking for a strength build. As for the exotic, we have Armamentarium. This is where I have to tell you, like, not all 60s are the best in the world. A 66 is a high stat roll. Now, a lot of recovery, some resilience. Probably too much recovery in my opinion. I'd like to see more resilience than recovery. Discipline is 12. It is double digits, but I think the intellect on this one is a little bit wasted personally. But you are not wasting anything on mobility, which is actually kind of a good thing. So depending on where you put your stat mod, this still could be pretty good. And if you don't have one, this is not the worst thing you could pick up. For the Warlock, again, you've got decent numbers, but personally too much mobility for the Warlock. Like 2 recovery. Even if it's a 67, you are missing a very important stat for a Warlock, so it's hard to recommend the Gauntlets. The 65 is like well-rounded on the top, nothing too spiky. Not bad, but again, the mobility is not really doing a whole lot for me. The Helm with 18 mobility and then 7 in recovery, again, not really working. The Boots, 66. At least you got a double-digit recovery, some strength. Again, the mobility is kind of wasted. Maybe the Boots for a new player at least give you some decent stats to work with. As for your exotic, I have another world. Basically, you mark targets, and you buff your ability to reach in a little bit, not much. So the discipline and the strength is not bad. Mobility is a little wasted at 14, but you do have double-digit recovery, some resilience. If you're a new player and you haven't experienced this thing at all, you can pick it up, at least say you've got one. But as this thing is not really like a great exotic in the first place, you may just complete your collection with this one and just leave it in the vault because it's only okay. This roll also could just be better. Finally, we've got the Hunter, and you've got gauntlets with a 65, like mobility, some resilience, decent recovery, discipline. All in all, this is a pretty decent one, especially for a newer player. No artifice, I would not skip this. 64, again, similar looking stats here. A little more intellect than I would probably like to see, but generally for anybody on the relatively newer player space looking for a decent set armor, these are still going to be good pickups. 64 here with strength, discipline, all middle range on the top. Again, still playing pretty well. 63 with high recovery and intellect, probably the worst of the legendary gear for the hunters. But again, the helmet, the chest, and the gauntlets for especially a newer player, very good. Then we get to the exotic, Lucky Pants. So hand cannons ready faster and gain increased accuracy and bonus damage, and you've got 20 discipline and 20 recovery, some mobility, some resilience, some intellect, some strength. Those are all pretty even. All in all, I would pick this up if you were a hunter because this will still play well in PvP. If you like hand cannons, this will still play well. You put a mod on this thing for mobility, you're up to 17. It's a pretty good roll. You can do a lot with this one, so do not skip this as a hunter. And that pretty much wraps it up. So Trials is live, so if you're looking to play Trials, it's out there. And also, the new dungeon is hanging out here in the Helm, and I just got done working on that one and finishing it up. So I will be working on my guide for Ghosts of the Deep. Cool dungeon. Solo is going to be an interesting one, so probably going to find me on Twitch tomorrow, bashing my head against that. But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like below. The shard farm, whatever was going on, has been patched, so I'm going to take that video kind of off, and hopefully you guys find this one beneficial. If you did enjoy it, please drop a like below. We are climbing our way up to 100K, so hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell if you want to support me today on that one. Oh, find me over on Twitch if you want to find me there, probably a lot of the weekend. I will see you guys very soon. Have a good one.